We all do better when we work together. Our differences do matter, but our common humanity matters more. There is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America. People are more impressed by the power of our example rather than the example of our power. If you live long enough, you'll make mistakes. But if you learn from them, you'll be a better person. It's how you handle adversity, not how it affects you. The main thing is never quit, never quit, never quit. You can put wings on a pig, but that doesn't make it an eagle. When our memories outweigh our dreams, it is then that we become old. Obama doesn't know how to be president. He doesn't know how the world works. He's incompetent. He's an amateur. Being president is like being the groundskeeper in a cemetery. There are a lot of people under you, but none of them are listening. A man is more than the sum of all the things he can do. If you want to live like a Republican, vote like a Democrat. We cannot build our own future without helping others to build theirs. When I was in England, I experimented with marijuana a time or two, and I didn't like it. I didn't inhale. People around the world have always been more impressed by the power of our example than by the example of our power. If you live long enough, you'll make mistakes. But if you learn from them, you'll be a better person. If we don't succeed, we run the risk of failure. They should be impressed by the power of our example, not the example of our power. There is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America. Sometimes when people are under stress, they hate to think, and it's the time when they most need to think. Our democracy must be not only the envy of the world but the engine of our own renewal. There is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America. When our memories outweigh our dreams, we have grown old. If one candidate is appealing to your fears, and the other one's appealing to your hopes, you'd better vote for the person who wants you to think and hope. We all do better when we work together. Our differences do matter, but our common humanity matters more. Mental illness is nothing to be ashamed of, but stigma and bias shame us all. Each bloodletting hastens the next, and as the value of human life is degraded and violence becomes tolerated, the unimaginable becomes more conceivable. He didn't say a word or do an action that did not have a purpose. His knowledge of war has fed a passion for peace. That depends on what your definition of is. This is a practical country. We have ideals, we have philosophies. But, the problem with any ideology is that it gives the answer before you look at the evidence. There is nothing wrong in America that can't be fixed with what is right in America. Follow the trend lines, not the headlines. We know we have to face hard truths and take strong steps, but we have not done so. Instead, we have drifted. And that drifting has eroded our resources, fractured our economy, and shaken our confidence. I did not run for this job just to warm the seat. I desperately want to make a difference. As powerful as our memories are, our dreams must be even stronger. For when our memories outweigh our dreams, we become old. Being president is like running a cemetery. You've got a lot of people under you and nobody's listening. We all do better when we work together. Our differences do matter, but our common humanity matters more. Let us all take more responsibility not only for ourselves and our families but for our communities and our country. The road to tyranny, we must never forget, begins with the destruction of the truth. Sometimes when people are under stress, they hate to think, and it's the time when they most need to think. Mental illness is nothing to be ashamed of, but stigma and bias shame us all. If you want to have a good life, you have to have some constructive outlet for your feelings. In the new economy, information, education and motivation are everything. Nobody's right all the time, and a broken clock is right twice a day. We're compelled to spend our fleeting lives between those two extremes, knowing we're never going to be right all the time and hoping we're right more than twice a day. Sometimes I feel like the fire hydrant looking at a pack of dogs. For 6 years I have declined to tell these kinds of jokes because I have been told repeatedly that it is not presidential. But I feel kind of outdoorsy today. If being a good politician means that I've been able to be re-elected in tough times as well as good times, and have been able to build a broad base of support for priorities that were both important and that required the people of my state to change, then I pled guilty. Politics gives guys so much power that they tend to behave badly around women. And I hope I never get into that. All America loses when any person is denied or forced out of a job because of sexual orientation. Being gay, the last time I thought about it, seemed to have nothing to do with the ability to read a balance book, fix a broken bone, or change a spark plug. Healthy skepticism is good. It saves us from being too naive or too cynical. But it is impossible to preserve democracy when the well of trust runs completely dry. We live in a completely interdependent world, which simply means we cannot escape each other. How we respond to AIDS depends, in part, on whether we understand this interdependence. It is not someone else's problem. This is everybody's problem. If one candidate is appealing to your fears, and the other one's appealing to your hopes, you'd better vote for the person who wants you to think and hope.